Hello to you from Port Douglas, where I'm on holidays. I can't believe it. Look at me, my bintang singlet, just chilling the you-know-what out. I've got so much more brain capacity than I normally have because I'm not getting up at 4:30 in the morning. So I thought now would be a good opportunity to share with you a little bit of a teaching that His Holiness the Dalai Lama gave in California, at the University of California in 2012. The reason I think this is a good idea is because we've been doing this What Would Buddha Do thing on my website and on Facebook, and so please believe that it's not because I think I know what Buddha would do, but I do know where to look for some really good Buddhist teachings. So if you want to send in a question to the website or through Facebook, I can go away and research and bring you back some answers that you may or may not choose to go with. But at the very least, it's interesting, and I usually find the Buddhist perspective is different to what I would have thought of myself, but really helpful. So we're starting with depression and anxiety. The reason for that is that a lot of the letters that I've been sent, or messages I've been sent through this What Would Buddha Do thing, are about depression and anxiety. It's obviously an issue that affects a lot of us, and probably like myself, I've suffered myself. We probably think, why on earth? Why is depression and anxiety so big in our culture when we're so lucky? Certainly those of us with the dumb luck to have been born in Australia, or certainly just living in Australia now, we're pretty lucky people. So why is it that we can suffer depression and anxiety? I want to make it very clear that this is not in lieu of speaking to a professional. I think you should definitely speak to a professional. Start with your GP if this is an issue for you. I myself am medicated. Full disclosure, I am medicated for depression and anxiety, so I'm not pretending that reading Buddhist books is the only thing that keeps my head together. But similarly, medication isn't the only thing that keeps my head together. It helps, but if I don't help myself, then it doesn't work. So His Holiness, in this little snippet that I'll play you about his own challenges and how he keeps inner peace, which is the opposite of depression and anxiety. So as Buddhists see it, depression and anxiety are the absence of inner peace. So he focuses more on attaining inner peace than eradicating other things. It's the same thing, really, but different way of thinking about it. So he will mention three things here. He will mention compassion, forgiveness, and realistic outlook. So if we can just talk about those quickly before we go into his teaching. Firstly, compassion. You have to remember to be compassionate about yourself, first and foremost. It's that thing about, putting the oxygen mask on yourself before you try and help other people. Compassion is very important in Buddhism, but we have to remember that it counts for ourselves as well. So you can be compassionate to yourself by taking control of the kind of stimulus that you put into your mind. We can't expect positive, peaceful things to manifest in our minds if we keep putting negativity into them. I know myself, sometimes I have to steer clear of the news for a couple of days. Steer clear of reading about and looking for sort of the latest developments in the news, because it can be really depressing and it can create a really negative outlook from me. I'm not saying ignore it and pretend it's not happening, but use wisdom with regards to how much of it you can handle. I struggle with those people who say, oh, I never read the news, it's too depressing. I really struggle with those people. I don't think that's wise at all, just to ignore the reality of what's going on around you, but certainly try and balance it with some positive input. Garbage in, garbage out kind of is kind of the idea. So I balance it by reading Buddhist books, watching teachings on YouTube like this one. That's personally how I do it, but however you do it, make sure you're putting some positivity into your mind to make it a fertile ground for positivity to manifest. Compassion for other people, obviously, is always important, particularly if they're annoying you. That's when it's hardest, but that's when it's most beneficial as well, because if you can feel compassion for someone, they can't annoy you anymore. Forgiveness, obviously, forgiveness. Depression can come from, a very real and reasonable place when we feel we've been let down by somebody or hurt by somebody. So finding forgiveness and again compassion for that person can eradicate the feeling of depression that comes out of that situation. And forgiving yourself as well. Don't forget to forgive yourself. Personally, I get depression oftentimes from embarrassment at something I've said or done or whatever, like on television or radio oftentimes, where I'm just like cringing for days afterwards going, that's so embarrassing. And I can get depressed about that. So forgiving myself helps. And that brings us to the next one, realistic outlook. Like in that particular situation, I just think to myself, realistically, who's paying that much attention to me on TV or radio? Like it's a moment, it's a second in time, it's gone. In people's lounge rooms or bedrooms, no one cares enough about me to still be thinking I'm an idiot 3 days later over something, so putting it in its place. The other thing about realistic outlook is that I read this great thing once, I don't know where I read it or who said it, but it said that when I'm depressed, I'm living in the past. When I'm anxious, I'm living in the future. And I find that so helpful because neither are realistic, neither are now. And now is the only time I can affect. And now is the only time I can live in and be active in and change anything and do anything. I can't do anything in the past or in the future right now. So when I'm feeling depressed, I think about what it is. Like depression is a kind of a surface sensation. It's made up of things. So we have to go and look at what it's made up of. Why am I depressed? It's because I said something stupid on TV 3 days ago. Well, that's actually embarrassment, probably a bit of anger, just, being a sook. I mean, you have to break it up into its bits so that you can eradicate each bit. And ultimately, I have to realise that there's nothing I can do about the past. It's gone. Can't affect it, can't change it. And that helps me let it go and let go of the depression related to it. Anxiety, when I'm feeling anxious. Why am I anxious? Because I'm worried about something in the future. May never happen. Probably won't happen the way I'm guessing it'll happen because there's lots of other things and people to contribute to it, like that. Like that drilling, for example. That's a good time for me to go. So don't forget, anxiety is living in the future, depression is living in the past. Now, we'll go and hear a little bit from His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I hope his accent isn't too troubling to you. You get used to it. He's talking about things that he has sort of used to bring comfort to himself, exterior things, but in reality, it has to come from inside of him. His peacefulness and his comfort, self-comfort, have to come from inside of him. And he will talk a little bit about watches. It's kind of hard to understand what he's saying, but his hobby is timepieces, watches. He has lots of people give him watches and he likes to pull them apart and put them back together and stuff like that. So that's what he's referring to in this video. I hope you enjoy it.
Then, age 24, I lost my own country. The last 50 years now. Still a lot of problem, a lot of sadness, a lot of heartbreaking news. During this period, money failed to bring
peace of mind.
Consolation. of course, I love used to watch. So some beautiful watch also fail to bring inner comfort. And also occasionally some dogs and some cats, very beautiful, but they also fail to bring inner peace. Sometimes my human friend, sometimes even greater sort of sadness, they also complain, they also express their sort of sadness, then instead of sort of bring peace, but more worry. But then only thing which bring inner peace is my own inner value, compassion, and the spirit of forgiveness, and also realistic attitude. These things brings inner comfort, clear. And my physical health also, these inner value really affect positively.
On my health.
Ah,
On my health. No?
on my
Health.
health. So, you know, I think many of you may not know that last year I went to surgery to remove gallbladder. So at that time, one specialist, surgeon specialist, there are a few sort of specialists. One specialist described me as a young patient. Then I told him, I'm not young. Now, over 73 years old. So then he says, yes, I know your age, 73, over 73, but your body looks still like 60-year-old. So he described as a young patient. So that shows my mental peace, inner sort of strength, I think really makes differences about body element. So we are same human being. Therefore, I want to share you ultimate source of your happy life, a happy mental state, is within yourself. That I think you should know.
Okay, a little bit of a humble brag from His Holiness there about how youthful his body is. Good on him. Remember, so the three sort of antidotes that His Holiness nominates to depression and anxiety are compassion, forgiveness, and realistic outlook. Don't forget also to seek professional help. Go to your GP and ask for help. Very important. That's part of self-compassion, self-care, and all of that stuff. Mr. Builder's at it again. From the Buddhist perspective, taking care of yourself and your body is very, very important because it enables you to keep helping other people. The longer you can live a healthy life, the longer you can contribute to other people and to the world around you. All right, we'll be back with another video, I don't know when, in a week or two maybe, but thank you. Keep the questions and ideas coming. MeshelLaurie.com or on Facebook. Bye.